Yo, what's up, boys? So today I'm going to be reviewing my client Tamim's live sales call, start to finish, seeing where he went wrong, where he could close the multi-thousand-dollar deal, and what you guys can do with this information is take it on, take his bad and improve upon that in your own agency, take what he did good and copy it, render it, right? Now, if you're interested in potentially having this for your own agency or your own business in general, I do have a mentorship going on right now. It is free until I get to 50 people. From there, then I'm going to start charging some sort of fee or something like that. So while the getting is good, while the going is good, click the link in the bio. And yeah, this video is just going to be a live sales call recording, and I hope you all enjoy it. Without further ado, let's hop right into the video.
Everything's good there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Perfect.
amazing, man. Glad we got through.
All right, cool. So, really good part that I like that Tameen does is he has this guy join on his computer rather than his phone. The guy actually is on his phone right now just because of technical issues, but you can see that the guy's sat down. He's in a room, right? He's just ready to go. He's actually interested in the call. So a really good setup, probably a really good pre-frame by my client Tamim. So that's a really important thing that you guys should have for your introductions.
Michael, how's the Friday going?
Pretty good. You know, it's the parade is tomorrow, so it's a lot of traffic around.
Just put this in high speed.
I did, yeah.
Uh,
And you guys are in
the-
DC, right?
yeah.
I
We
did
need to
my
see.
homework. I did my homework.
That's I like that.
I like when people do research like that. That's another really good thing is always have some research on your clients. That's just what I like to do personally. You know, this is obviously varies offer to offer, situation to situation, business to business. But having research, being prepared for your prospects, it shows that next level. So to me, that's a really good thing, right? Let's carry on. All right, so with the introduction section wrapped up, I just want to talk about some good things that Tamim did. So he kind of gave a little bit of rapport, right? This very situation to situation. Sometimes I like to hop in and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. Cool. Awesome. So it looks like you booked in on the calendar. Boom, we're right into it. Booked on the calendar about potentially getting some more landscaping jobs, car washing, car detailing, whatever you're doing, right? Just hopping into that. I like that. That's what I personally do. I usually just opt to just hop right into the thing and not open with any rapport. Um, 80 to 90% of salespeople open with like some fake rapport, and in my opinion, at least from my research, and it's really like it really dismays the process because it already sets you as like another sales guy, right? When you're hopping right into the call, and it doesn't mean like, hey Michael, how are you doing? Okay, great, we're hopping right into the call. This is it's all about tonality. Cool, what's up, Michael? Yeah, looks like you booked on the calendar about potentially getting some more help with X. What were you kind of hoping to get out with? What were you kind of hoping to get out of this call? Or what were you kind of looking for help with potentially? Or what were you possibly looking for when it comes to X, right? A lot of different ways you can open up. I'm not against opening up with a little bit of rapport. I don't think it's a bad thing. Even in this situation, they're from a similar spot, or at least uh, the prospect was familiar with where Tamim was from. So, decent rapport right there without getting too like salesy. I really like that. So with the introduction wrapping up, Tamim did really great on that. Obviously, again, just wrapping up with some advice for you guys. You can either open with a little bit of rapport, hop into it, or hop right into it. Don't do this elongated rapport thing. Just my opinion. I don't like to do that. So let's continue. Let's get some key points from the discovery. It's the only reason why I didn't like show you the live clip. But Tamim says something. He goes, "All right, Michael. So really quick, I don't like that. Okay. In my reviews throughout my sales, I'll never be too picky about word choice. There's very, very few times I'll hone in on the words because 99% of it is not what you say, but it's how you say it, your body language, right? Your tonality, right? If I'm asking a question, I want to say, and if I want to show the prospect I'm generally interested, I'm going to ask it with a tone that's like, hey, Michael, like, how long you been in business for? As opposed to like, yeah, man, how long you been in business for, or how long you been in business for, right? So yeah, that's a big thing. I don't like saying really quick in this circumstance. I just don't. It kind of like it's just something so small that like if you could remove that, I feel like that increases the close rate maybe by 1%. So that's an immediate note I would have for that. Don't say, hey, so really quick, right? Because what does that indicate to me? If I get a cold call and someone says really quick, I don't want to listen to them anymore. I'm like thinking like, hey man, this is a sales guy. He wants to sell me on something and he doesn't want to take the time. That's just what I get. So yeah, I would generally avoid saying really quick in pretty much any circumstance, especially in the introduction, cold call, set call, right? Anything like that. But let's carry on.
Could be nice.
Yeah,
But 8 or 10 if possible a week would be nice.
yeah, yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to be at.
Okay. Got it. And how long has that kind of been going on for? Like the 3 to 4 each week?
It's been going on for like since January actually.
Whoa. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, and I had to reach out with Google's one of the associates. Like we sat down on the Zoom call just like this, and we was going back and forth and talk about the things we can do to like help it change that, because he was saying that something have to do with AI, trying to learn new stuff and trying to um get me leads. So he changed some things, and I've still not seen that result yet. So we're actually gonna meet again next month
Cool.
to
Okay.
run back and see how it's looking so far. But yeah, I just wanted to give a call and see if you guys offer something better, and I'll go with that.
Okay. Yeah. And so what is that about like six months, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, man. Got it. And has it been like fairly consistent, 3 to 4 each week, kind of for the past 6 months?
Yeah, it's been like that. It's been like that. So yeah. And sometimes I get leads, but they like out of the state, like Pennsylvania,
Wow.
and yeah, and like all the way in Richmond. I'm like, why am I getting clients all the way from there? Like,
Right.
yeah, so I don't like stuff like that.
Already, this is a very good place to be at. Obviously, prospect was already pretty ready, was already pretty open, was already expressing his issues, hit the goals he had, right? Well, if you guys can do better, I want to go with you guys, right? So, Tamim's in a really good spot here. Not much else to say. He probed for the issue. He asked, like, what's been going on? How long has it been going on for? He already hopped into the goal. So, he's in a really good spot. Tamim's doing a really great job thus far. Let's continue on.
Stuff.
Okay. Interesting, man. And did you make the ads yourself and you made all the things yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's actually amazing, man. And
Thank you.
like, were you kind of running like?
Small point. Something specific for Tamim was I told him, like, basically, for lack of a better term, stop glazing clients, stop dick running clients. Like, you just want to be nice and support these people. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like, for example, like if you guys watch my first video on my YouTube channel, like I hop in and like this guy's talking about like how he was having issues. I was like, I'm sure it's not your service, right? Which is a completely terrible assumption, right? So to me, what he did there gave a nice little like, oh, dude, that's amazing. Like you're doing your own ads. Like this guy is like genuinely trying things. So it's good to like support that, right? The things you want, the beliefs you want out of prospects, if they're doing them already, give them like a pat on the back, right? So that's a really good. That's a very small thing. Again, there's nothing that's been huge so far. The past 10 or so minutes has literally just been this guy explaining all the issues he's having with Google ads, trying Facebook ads, trying this, trying that. So prospects in a really good spot. What I would love for Tamim to do, absolutely love, is just ask the impact. How has this been affecting you? And now, because we've been talking about the business for so long, transition, as I said again, how's this been impacting the business? And then like, how's this been impacting yourself? Have you been wasting all the times with your leads like yourself? Do you have a crew? Like, get a good basis of like, do you have, employees in this circumstance, like that are they getting work? Like dive into the pain that he's feeling outside of like the general stuff. Like, oh yeah, it does suck to get less leads, right? Because it's going to be super hard to close someone because they're just getting bad leads. It's a lot easier to close someone when they haven't had a booked schedule in the past, 3 to 6 weeks. They're not able to pay their guys. It's very hard to pay their guys, right? Or maybe just their guys aren't working as much, or they're not even able to expand or get employees because of this problem, right? It just expands into that next gap, and then even further into that, the next gap after that, right? How is this impacting him? Well, then like, oh, dude, like, how's that been like on you, like mentally, dude? Is that fuck, man? You know what I mean? Fuck, man. Like, how is that even impacting you, right? Boom. And that's what I want for Tamim to do here. If he does that, I would say a perfect wrap up to like the first beginning, like, problem awareness, basically. So let's see if he does it.
Facebook forums, or like you sending it to the website, or how did that work?
Yeah. So I set up the Facebook ad. I had like two different types of ads running. I had one for generating like call leads, and I had one just sending traffic to my website in case they want to book online. They don't have to deal with calling me. So I had both of them running at the same time to see which one's to generate more leads for me, and I'll keep it. I'll keep that one. But with Google, the associate I was talking with, he made a new what do you call it? A new campaign for me, and it's been almost a month now, and that has not generated one impression
Wow.
so far. A full month has not. It did not do anything for me. But the one I made from since January has been, like you got to do something, because going smaller people when they call me, I try to be on the first page. Like when they search for, I'm trying to like push
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And
more I can invest. So I'm trying to like push that more forward to see how much more I can invest in that.
okay, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And let's, I just want to see, right? Let's say I was able to help you get, obviously more leads and more jobs.
Mhm.
Where would you want like the monthly revenue to be?
I don't hate this. I don't. Dude, get the impact. What's the impact? How's this been impacting it? Like, as I just said, guys, like, how's this been impacting the business, you, yourself, your workers, right? Boom, right? We're in this position where he has all these issues. And what he has to realize is, how has this been impacting the business, you, your employees, right? How has this been impacting you, right? Your personal finances, your peace of mind. That alone is like a huge game changer. That small segment of like 5 minutes of questions could literally make or break a sale instantaneously. So to me, so far as if he even if he comes back to it, it's like you just need to insert that right there. It's like, boom, how's that been impacting the business? How's it been impacting you? So going right into like dream state at this point, like where would you want to be? I don't hate it, but definitely a huge missed opportunity that if he did that, puts him in a way better position, right? And then he gets into where would you want to be? It's like, oh, I can save you, right? I would have loved that much more. So let's continue on with the video. That is so far, that's like the biggest, most glaring mistake is like, given, where's the impact? How's that been impacting, not just like, I understand you're not getting leads, man, but like, yeah, you know what I mean? I would have been like, okay, so not getting consistent leads and like like getting one, not even one impression in a month. What has that been doing to the business? Maybe in terms of like the margins or yeah, like what's it been doing to the business? I would have hopped right into that, and then furthermore, okay, and then so because your margins have been lower, because your schedule hasn't been booked, because X Y Z X Y Z X Y Z, what's that been doing, man? Are you like? I would have been stressed, man. Are you stressed about that, or like what's kind of looking like? Well, what's that kind of looking like, right? Obviously not perfect question sequence there, but just going down that rabbit hole would have expanded, and it made this problem go from I have a leads issue to I have a business issue to I have a personal issue, right? Three different levels. So let's continue on anyway.
Okay, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool, man. And really quick, actually, I was gonna ask you, like with the Google, when the
Mhm.
lead comes in, like how did that look? Like how did the process look?
Meme. Really quick again. You see, take really quick out of your guys' vocabulary if you use it too much like this. Like I would just take that out of my vocabulary, right? So that's a big thing. Another thing is this guy's at like 2 to 3K and he wants to get to like 6 or 7K. Again, if that's his goals, that's his goals. But like, you can always try to subtly expand that gap, right? Because the gap right now is like literally just a couple grand versus like, you could even subtly put in a question like, okay, man, like going to 6 to 7K. I mean, like with us, right? And obviously you don't want to like you want to remap it to a question. You don't want to say a statement. But if you have to, you can even put it in here and be like, you know, could we push that even further? Yeah, okay. So your first goalpost is 2 to 3K to going from 6 to 7K. Like realistically, if you actually had say like 5 or 6 leads coming in every single day, what's your conversion rate? Like could we convert to this potential thing, right? Boom, and then we move the goalpost, right? Because I've seen people in a very similar niche like closing 10K of deals from Facebook ads in a week. So in a month, closing 10K is obviously not that hard. You kind of just have to expand that goalpost, right? You want like the largest discretion in between where they're at right now and where they want to go. You want to create the largest possible discretion. So that's something I would have liked to see to meme too. Again, not a game changer, but expanding that goalpost that much more. Like this is how far away you are. It makes it easier, especially because I see he's gonna eventually ask for the cost of inaction, right? And like he's gonna ask like, okay, well, how would your life change? Well, going from 3K a month to 6K a month is not a huge change, but going from 3 to 10, I mean that's going from literally making less than the medium wage to making 6 figures. That's something I would have loved to see there. But yeah, let's continue on.
Really quick, actually, I was gonna ask you, like with the Google, when the
Mhm.
lead comes in, like how did that look? Like how did the process look of you kind of getting to the leads and
So
I don't like process being here. I understand it's a question you missed that you should have, but like we just had him set up the goal, right? What would that extra amount of money allow you to do, right? That's the next question in this framework, dude. Now we're just like diverting a little bit, right? You're a trained professional in your field. You want to continue on with the way things should go, right? Good analogy is like in football, first down, you want to run the ball. Let's say you get 3 yards or something like that. Now we're 2nd and 7. And, let's just say we get sacked. We're 3rd and 12. We don't want to run the ball on 3rd and 12, right? It's just not usually how you want to do it. So for instance, he just kind of diverts away and it's like, oh, we're almost back to like problem awareness, right? We just pulled something back, which isn't terrible. It's not going to kill a sale at all. It's not like a big game changer, but with how this framework is set up, you'd want to just lean into that second question. It's like very easy. This is the question I want to ask, and then this is my follow up, right? Goes back to what I said about the impact, right? This is the question I want to ask the business, and I want to go to the personal, right? Imagine if I asked them about the like, how's this impacting the business? Okay, what are you doing for the leads? Okay, and how's that impacting yourself? Like that's a weird, it feels almost misguided. Like prospects, like what? Wait, where am I in this? Like, you know, you're asking questions to get them to realize things, and this is something that like we don't really need. We should have done earlier if we were gonna do it. But let's continue on.
what kind of impact has that had on you and the business and like what does the impact look like?
it's been huge.
Yeah.
I will not throw Google in the back end or anytime.
There it is. There it is to me. Clap it up. Now, my only discretion is good impact question, right? Really good question. It's been huge. That's an opening gap, right? That's a really good. We're in a really good spot 20 minutes into the call. Now, if we move this to there and we moved. So let's just take the last question, right? The last clip you guys saw. If we move that to problem awareness, and then we ask impact, and then we go into these questions, it's a lot more natural. It's a lot more flow. It's a lot more linear in the sense that like everything's getting done when it should be getting done, right? I don't want to ask dream state like beginning of the call and then go to the problem and then go back to dream state and then go back to like this and that, right? It's just it's not getting the job done as efficiently as it could be, right? Not a huge killer, but it's definitely something you guys like if you are trying to get better at sales, just have a more like linear movement, right? Like even for these, like for my YouTube videos, when I have like off-topic things, it kind of, it'll lower people's retentions, right? It'll do a lot of harm, not a lot of harm. It'll do a decent amount of harm that like I could just improve by doing a straight like X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. This is how I answer my questions. I'm going to go from problem awareness into impact into desired situation, such as he did here. So yeah, that's a small thing, but I like that to me hit with the impact question. It's not even on the script. So, I mean, yeah, this is the third call I'm reviewing for this guy, and he's already off, like, not reading the script. Like, I really like how things are going right now. We're in a great spot 20 minutes into a call. But again, another small thing is he said really quick again, it's like, to me, just remove this from your vocabulary. That is something that is, like, definitely just shouldn't be in your vocabulary in any of these scenarios. So let's continue on. So far, I mean, nothing's been too big. Obviously, just asking things in a linear fashion, not having really quick, right? He's diving into the pain really well. So yeah, a lot of people they miss this, right? They don't ask impact, and if you don't ask the impact, if you don't know the impact this is having on the business, you're not going to be in a position to like close a deal, right? So that's a lot of sauce for you guys is always have the impact before you go into anything, right? Before you go into a pitch or anything like that, know how this is affecting them, know that how this will continue to affect them if they don't change it, and have the prospect understand that, not just on a business level, on a life level, right? So let's continue on.
Even in the last month, you told me, it hasn't gotten any leads at all, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand, like, what, what effect has that had?
It's had a bad effect, because yeah, I want some ceramic coated leads, and a lot of good leads off of like.
Another really good thing, man. Tamim is killing it. He loops. So this guy kind of avoided his question, right? No, he just got off topic, right? Tamim loops back, asks the same question again, but doesn't just directly say to this guy losing rapport and all that. That's a big thing. If someone doesn't answer your question, right, you're gonna have to come right back at them and make them answer it again. But you don't want to lose rapport, right? And just be like, if someone doesn't answer my question, you don't want to just be like, well, let's just say I said like, what would that extra money allow you to do that you can't do right now? And he's like, well, I do a lot of things right now, and yeah, a big thing about the leads is, you don't want to come back and be like, so what would that extra money allow you to do that you can't really do right now, right? You don't want to do something like that. You want to loop back and be like, yeah, I see how that is affecting things, and like, if you were able to fix that, how would that kind of change the business, the trajectory? If you had the money in your pocket right now, what would things look like? You know what I'm saying? So again, Tamim's just smoking it so far, and obviously, still making some small mistakes that I talked about early in the call, but there's nothing too big. So let's just continue on. You'll probably see me in 5 to 10 minutes because at this point, there's nothing else for me to really go over from what I see.
For sure, man, for sure.
I want to change that.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking, man, like, what, I know everyone wants ceramic coating jobs, but
Yeah.
why, what's the motivator behind them?
Number one, it pays well. You can charge a lot of money for that, but it also.
Nah, not a good question because what's the motivator behind getting ceramic coating jobs? More money. Now where are we at in the sale? We haven't moved anywhere. And that's the thing too, as he said, if you don't mind if I ask, like, you know what I'm saying? Like Tamim, he has these things. You don't mind if I ask, really quickly, like it seems like he's always asking for a little bit of permission here. Just kind of loses the authority a little bit in this sense. Those small impacts can play a big role down the line. So I just wouldn't have asked that question, to be honest. I would have kept where I was going. Like, what would you do with this money? If we're going into the dream state this early, which I'm not like super for, um, let's do it like if we're gonna go into the dream state, go into dream state. Don't do back and forth in this sense, right? So yeah.
They hurt for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure.
I want to change that.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me asking, man, like, what, I know everyone wants to random coding jobs, but
Yeah.
why? What's the motivator behind them?
Number one, it pays well. You can charge a lot of money for that, but it also you also give you relationships.
Yeah, got it, man. And like with the extra money, is it actually cool to ask like a bit of a personal question?
Yeah, sure.
So obviously with the extra money in the business, but mostly like outside the business, right? Obviously we started the business, to help us get our goals. So
Yeah.
what would that kind of allow you to do?
To expand, see if I want to branch out and try other businesses or open a shop,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I would use the money for.
Okay, cool, man. And honestly, that's awesome. I love to hear that.
Thank you.
When I remember there was a time in my business, right? I was stuck. I hit a plateau.
Yeah.
And I was looking for like a mentor, and
Right.
I found this guy. He was ready to help me. And then he asked me this weird question. He was like, "Why do you want more money?" I said, "Man, I want more money." What?
Yeah.
And then he kind of broke it down for me. Money is a means to an end. Like money is
Yeah.
an end goal. Sometimes we get money for more freedom, for to help our families out, to help friends out, right? And then I realized that's why I started my business. I wanted money so I could have like the freedom to do my own things, man. Like
Yeah.
I play a lot of sports. I'm a big sports guy.
Mm.
So obviously I realized that as I started expanding, I had that more time to kind of care more about the sports, man. So like what would the ends be for you? You know what I mean?
That's big for me. Like I would say, hiring people, trying to teach people this pathway and inspiring them to start their own business, so that they can become their own person, in the future, just like how I was.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Kind of just like inspiring people, helping them to grow and build and all of that.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. Awesome. So, I did kind of want to ask, right? What does the dream situation look like? Like how are we gonna know that we hit our goals?
When I get a shop.
Okay.
Yeah. When I get a shop, I know. Okay. Yeah, you've made it.
Cool,
Yeah.
man. How would that feel, man? Getting that
That would
shot.
be that would be amazing. That would be a good landmark to hit for sure.
Yeah, awesome, man. And even what's the next goal after that?
Uh, I don't have a big goal after that for like, because I don't want to expand too much where I stretch myself out too thin. So
Yeah.
the shop would be like a good point to like kind of like back off a little bit, hire somebody I trust to keep it running while I'm just overseeing it that way. I would like that.
Yeah. I was about to say with the shop, is the goal kind of like getting your time back, just overseeing
Yeah,
the business?
for sure, for sure.
Awesome,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. And how many cars would you want to be doing like a day, let's say with the shop?
I want like 5, 6 cars a day.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah. Coatings.
Yeah, for sure. Because I want somebody. I want like, because I know a guy, but he's way too far away from me. But
Yeah. That's amazing, man. Obviously PPFs, more money, more.
yeah, those are the big banks. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Big
Oh,
bucks.
fuck.
Is there anything else that you feel like we haven't covered that you think is valuable? You want to dive into any kind of problem? Anything?
Oh, to me. We miss consequence, which is something I like to ask early. Again, asking consequence in the sales world, there's a huge discrepancy between asking consequence, not asking consequence, right? I like to I don't like to ask it right before the pitch, right? But maybe right after impact, asking consequence is a good thing to me. I know 7th level guys, they ask it right before right before they happen to how they can help. But I also have other sales mentors that completely just avoid that question in that circumstance during that time, right? So there's a lot of things to impact over these last couple of minutes as we're wrapping up the discovery portion. He doesn't really get anything on a personal level besides buying more things, right? Why do you want to, what would this actually do for you? Oh, well, I'd invest more in the business. Well, buying a shop, buying all these things, right? Outside of business level, he never gets into the personal level. Dude, if I was making you gotta think, this guy's making 2 to 3 grand. What the fuck? How are you lit? Like, are you renting? Are you owning a house right now? Like, do you have a family? Are you supporting them? Would you like to make more income? Are you doing a full-time job? There's so much to impact there that you could bring into the dream state. That to me just really misses, and that's like a really big crucial part in the circumstance, right? He never really gets this guy's commitment to actually changing the situation beforehand. So those are like the big things that boom, we could instantly change and instantly improve. And this is kind of where, like, if you see like 22 minutes, he was like rambling about, for me, it was like sports. So, like, what is it for you? It was just that whole chunk right there. The last 4 minutes could have been improved upon so much just by getting a personal level for him. He didn't really have to tell that personal story about himself. I don't hate it though. I don't hate looping back into the same question like that because that's a good thing. But could have taken it to that next level by asking, like, man, like, you know, if we're making 2 to 3K a month, like, are you renting right now? Do you want to own a house? Like what else? Like outside of this, the business level, dude. Like, what would you want to do? You know? And then we're in a whole again. It's personal, right? We take it to different levels, right? Business problem, personal problem, right? Commitment to change, and then ask like, okay, and obviously, like, are you ready to change, right? How do we? When do you want to change that, right? How much longer do we want to be in the situation? Just incorporating all of that. And again, it comes back to this issue of like we're not logically following things. Because if we get him into the point of pain and then we ask how much longer, okay. And like what happens if nothing changes? Okay. And do you want to change this? Like, are you ready to, like, how much longer do you want this to be the case? Okay. And when do you want to change it, right? Asking questions like that. I obviously don't give like exact one-to-one questions because it's different every situation, different every person. But if you see if we got him in that position and then dived in the dream state and then dived in the personal state, now we're going to the pitch. We have the consequence. We have him wanting to change, committed to change, and then we're into the personal level. It's a way better discovery, right? So those are the big actionable steps. Now he's gonna hop into the transition to pitch. This is a crucial part that a lot of people fuck up in sales. So I want to see how this plays out.
Thing like that with your business before?
I mean, with the cost, I'll say the cost. Because Google charges me. I summed it all up every month. I'm like, or it's taking a good sum amount of the money I'm making,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
why I'm generating a lot of leads for me. Yeah.
Again, a bit of a personal question, but I just want to understand things more. How much money is Google bringing in, and how much are they taking out?
So they bring in a good amount, but they charge every month. I'm seeing like 1 or 2K, while I'm generating like 4K. So I'm only taking like 2K with me in my pocket.
Yeah.
So that's annoying.
Yeah, sure.
You know, knowing that those leads could be more than that. You know what I'm saying? While I'm paying this much money for it every month. So sometimes 100, sometimes 600, 700, 800. It hits 1,000 sometimes. I'm like, and I look back on it. It's been going on since January. I had to go back and look at it. I'm just like, I try. Yeah, I'm trying to see different ads to see which one can get me out of.
Before, we can definitely help you.
Okay, I like to hear that.
But with that being said, just before I get into what we do and how we can grow the business,
Very small thing, but with that being said, or just with that being, yeah, with that being said, I would like to say it like that. Something small is like just the tonality of that, right? But with that being said, you see how like things get serious a little bit, and you can see like Michael's looking intently, and I'm pretty confident that if this guy answers this question, he's not going to be super direct, if that makes sense. Um, so let's see if this actually plays out like that.
if you don't mind me asking a bit of a personal question, how much cash do you actually have set aside to invest in the growth of your business? If everything I'm about to say is exactly what you're looking for,
How much in total, or just a rough amount?
a rough amount of how much you're willing to invest.
I'm gonna invest like $500 to $600 for now.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And so,
Never mind, that's fine. Okay, but yeah, he actually didn't do that. So sometimes I'm wrong about my just clip that out. Retake.
Okay, I like to hear that.
but with that being said, just before I get into what we do and how we can grow the business, if you don't mind me asking a bit of a personal question, how much cash do you actually have set aside to invest in the growth of your business? If everything I'm about to say is exactly what you're looking for.
How much in total, or just a rough amount?
Cut out.
A rough amount of how much you're willing to invest.
I'm gonna invest like $500 to $600 for now.
Okay. Okay. Got it. And so, is it actually cool if I
Okay, so obviously we're not going to go into the super depths of Tamim's pitch. I just don't like to share other people's pitches, to be honest. Even my own and stuff. It's kind of a private thing. But anyway, if we see here, Tamim throughout the call builds pretty good rapport, but I think he lacks on like the tonality end of things, right? With that question, right? There's a big difference. Okay, great, all right, great. So Tamim answers it like this: based upon what we gathered, we can definitely help you. Says it confidently. That's great. And then he goes, but with that being said, do you mind if I like ask a personal question, like how much cash? He kind of dives right into it versus completely different. Like, great, based off of what I've gathered so far, we can definitely help you. Tamim did that good. Now this is what I would have done. Just before I get into what we do and how we can actually grow your business, if you don't mind me, can I can I ask a little bit of a personal question? All right, great, man. Yeah, how much cash do you have set aside to invest into the growth of your business? Obviously, with marketing, if if everything aligns and this is the solution you're looking for, right? Or if this is what you're looking for. Wording's not too important, but if this is what you're looking for, it would have just been a little bit better there, like having just better tonality and not just, if you don't mind if I ask a question, how much like you want to actually ask the question, right? That's why tonality is important. Is when I say something like, "Do you mind if I ask a personal question?" Like how much versus, "Do you mind if I ask a little bit of a personal question?" Yes. Okay. So now you're getting permission, and then you go into it, right? But it's fine. So yeah, thus far, biggest gaps were what I said in the last clip, right? Because when we go into this pitch, Michael's not committed to change. He seems this is a really good like going into this prospect's ready. He is pretty framed around the investment, but he needs a little bit more commitment. And obviously, let's see if he gains that in the pitch. But it's committed to change before the pitch. The pitch doesn't really change that; it just amplifies things. So, yeah, let's. I'm gonna catch you guys after the pitch, see where everything's at.
the structure that I just laid out and how it all works?
So how many leads would that generate, like say a week?
Yeah, got it. So I'll be honest with you, man. I don't track leads, honestly.
Okay.
I just track the booked appointments, right?
Okay.
So with booked appointments, we look at anywhere from 3 to 5 each week.
That's
Like I said, leads, it doesn't matter, to be
yeah.
honest with you, man. It's how many guys are actually booking.
Actually, both. Yeah. 35 is not bad at all. That sounds good.
Got it, man. So, if we kind of installed the system into your business and we guided you one-on-one, right? Would you be able to?
Really quickly before I go into obviously the temp check, um, it does sound a little bit bad that you don't track leads. I would say that. I would have just said, well, if it takes like in my head, right? If I have a client and we're doing booked appointments for him, we book 5 appointments in a week, right? About one a day. Typically it takes about 2 to 3 leads. So I would have said, yeah, we generate about 2 to 3 leads. But for you, the important thing, Michael, is obviously as you know in previous right situations, some leads just didn't convert at all, right? You had one conversion to a booking out of how many? And then you would have said it, and then I'd be like, yeah. So for us, we're generating anywhere from 2 to 3 leads per day. We take it out of your hands so you don't have to actually go and call them because you're a business owner who has time. And again, if we go back to the discovery and if we had more of like how this is affecting him, could have been like, I know you're struggling with like actually having the time to call these guys and whatnot, between your business and everything like that. So I would have just, went into that and then been like, yeah, so but in any given situation, almost basically for our guys on average every single day they have a booked appointment for an estimate. What's your close rate on the estimate? What are you kind of closing on estimates? And then he's like this, and then it's like, okay, yeah, so you'd be looking at around an estimate every single day. And if you're closing one in every two, then looking at 2 to 3 jobs a week with this. That's the discrepancy between us and the previous program. Obviously, you don't want to say that, but he's like, oh, okay, that's a lot better, right? It's just frame, right? So now Michael's thinking, okay, I'm only gonna get like a couple guys here, I guess. I don't really know. Versus if you mapped it out like that small thing, I don't like saying I don't track leads. That's not good because you should be tracking leads. It's an important portion. Finding out like what if you had 100 leads coming in, but there's 3 to 5 booked appointments. If you're not tracking that, that's a very bad look, right? So as I said, that would have been a way better frame, and then I would have went and do okay, cool. And do you have any more like questions about this? Like, make sure you answer all questions before you go into the pinch or any temp check or something like that. But I do like how he goes into temp check, very important portion. But with that being said, clear out any questions on top of that. So let's continue.
To go from 2K to 6K?
Yeah, I can see that. So how would that happen? How do you incorporate it into my business? Like, what is the the steps for that?
For sure, man. So what we'll do is
Don't go into investments, meme. Don't just show him and then show him. He has confidence. Show him and it'd be like, does it make sense? Okay, cool. Where do you want to go from here?
we have a software that we use. The software is tracking who's coming in. The software is tracking where they're coming in from, and that's where we build and set up the AI. So we'll get you set up onto our software. We'll build your account. We will. Do you guys have a website, by the way?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, cool. I was actually going to say that we could use that as well. So we set up the software, build the AI, kind of get everything up and running. Once that's done, we start building out our advertisements, right? So I would meet with you just like this, and I'd get some more info from you. What ads are we looking at? Who do we want to target? Where do we want to target? That way, the ads are going exactly where and to who we want them to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool, man. So, just as a reminder, right? We do work on pay per appointment book basis. So we take 10% of each.
I like where do you want to go from here. This is my personal thing. Not everybody asks it, but if you ask where do you want to go from here, and he says he wants to work with you. What does it look like financially? Then you can hop into that, right? Um, but I just don't like this transition at this point because it seems like there's some unanswered questions. If you just learned about the process, you're rushing into things. He's gonna have other questions, and if there's any unanswered questions, right, any objections you don't pre-handle, they're gonna manifest. They're gonna go from slight obstacles and questions to actual objections, which I think is gonna happen in this scenario because of that, because it's not on a personal level again, and because this guy doesn't really have much consequence or really any need to act or commitment to act prior to the pitch. So let's see if this plays out like how I say.
Job booked. But for our initial system investment to work with us for the next 90 days to get the more business, it's going to be 1K.
Okay.
So, how do you want to proceed from here, man?
So you're saying if I want to start right now, it's 1K.
Right. So, kind of the whole startup process is obviously once we get the payment, that's
Yeah.
you telling us that you're committed and
Yeah.
you're ready to go. So, once we get the payment, first thing we'll do is we'll set up our onboarding call. Let's get the payment today. Let's onboard sometime this weekend.
Right.
And in the meantime, that's where I build the software, like I was telling you earlier. Build it up, set up the AI, everything's ready to go. And then once we get on this meeting, then
Yeah.
that's where I get the info
Pretty
from you for
good.
the ads. Ideally, ad
Not bad. This portion is not like a super important portion, but when he goes like, "Yep, that 1K to like get started," be like, "Yep, that's what builds all your systems, get everything installed, this and that." Does that make sense? Boom. Okay. So, is there any more questions, or you more or less ready to rock and roll? Give a little smile, give a little nod, body language, little
campaigns
sales
are
trick
up
there.
within
But
3 to 5
again, not like bad what Mean's doing here. Just that's how I would have
days.
personally
Max,
done
right?
it.
So if
Right.
we got started today, I would get the goal of having the ads up by Monday.
Mm.
So it's fast moving.
Yeah. That sounds good. 1K. Interesting. So how long have you had this business for?
So we have been up for about a year.
Oh, that's
Started
nice.
this business for about a year, man.
What made you get into it?
It's a funny story actually, right? So back in high school, me and my friends started mobile detailing, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I had a family friend. He's into detailing. He got us in. He was making good money. We're high school kids. We want to make some money. So we got started with the detailing, and we made like maybe 4 or 5K after like 4 months. You know, so it's good money for high school kids.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously, we would connect with other detailers.
What does that question signify? The prospect's uncertain. So there's a little bit of
Right?
uncertainty here. I wouldn't have really jumped into my story. It's not bad to tell, but I would have been like, yeah, man. So we've been in business for about a year now. But things have been very fast moving because I was a detailer in the past, right? Just like you. But yeah, does that all like make sense with everything like that? I kind of, I would have said like that, or I could have just been like, yeah. So obviously with everything framed out, I just sense a little bit, maybe uncertainty or just like a little bit of hesitancy. Where's that kind of coming from? Is it the investment amount? Is it more like this? Dive right into it because there's obviously some uncertainty. You don't want to be apprehensive. And then you can just go right into money inside. Like there is an objection waiting to happen. I can sense that. I sense that as soon as Tamim said 1K.
We kind of talk with other guys, see what they're doing, what they're not doing. And something that I personally started to notice is that there were
But again, like just on a personal level, not for the YouTube. To me, this is much better than your past two calls. I mean, this is really good. Like the position we're in with those key changes, that we would have been more ready for a close here.
guys out there that would be the best detail work I've ever seen, but this big gap, and I was trying to helping out the customers.
Okay. Uh, so it's 1K. All right. So what
This guy's in the position where like he's this close, this close.
I'm gonna do is I'll have to because I already have like $600. So when I get to the 1K and I'm ready, I still have your number, so I'll give it. I'll shoot out a text and we can set it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here's what we can do: is if sometimes there are rare occasions where we do offer.
No, not bad, but okay, cool. And I just want to make sure. Obviously, the most important thing for me is like, you know, putting the cash aside for a second. Like, would you be rolling today if it was say, well, I can't really do this for you, but if it were $600, or just if we could do this financially, if we put money aside for a second, would you be rolling with us and getting everything installed so we can get you to X and X? Okay, and he's gonna be like, yeah, okay, and then roll into the pricing.
Pricing plans, right? So we have guys that want to get started, but obviously, if they've been struggling with marketing, they just don't have the funds for it.
Right.
So sometimes we'll set up a pricing plan, and what we can probably
But this guy's in the position where, like, to me, like this guy, I mean, this guy's this close. Like, this is a close. Like, this is a close in every state of the mind.
do is we'll split it up into 2 payments, and then the second payment of 600 would be after 3 weeks, right? So that way we can still get started everything up front.
And say I start with the 600 now, and you say if you get it done by Monday, and the next payment is in 3 weeks. So even after it starts on Monday, I will get like book. Is that sort of guaranteed
He's selling. He's selling. Oh my.
percentage? Or you be like, yeah, I guarantee you, like, you're gonna get at least like 2 or 3 before that next payment they come in.
So, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know how many jobs we're gonna get. Like, I don't know the exact. Right? But what I will tell you is we have a guarantee in place. Okay, so our partnership is 90 days. If at the end of the 90 days you're not happy with any kind of result that we got you, right?
Yeah.
If we get
You don't have to say yes to that because Tamim's right. I don't know, but yeah. So for 90% of our partners, they're in that position, right? This way for you, Michael, like I know what you have right now, like what we know with what I've talked about, with what we have right now, it's obviously not working because of X, Y, Z. So this way, obviously, I can help you out a little bit because I'm you're a guy who's in a position where you could really just come out and smoke this. You just need the right tools. This way, we get the right tools. We don't get limited by money because I guess like Michael, what is the reason that we're in this situation anyway? Or you just say like problem symptom, right? Yeah, and because right now we don't have the money, and that is because right, or right now we don't have the money, and is that like more of a problem or like a symptom of the problem? Some other problem. Yeah, man. And it makes sense because right now we don't have an incoming way to get work. So that's why we're in, the financial position. So this way I can help you out, right? Because I know you need our help. Or excuse me, I know obviously we need to fix something. We know we need to fix something. I know I can help you. And then this obviously, we get something going, right? And then so 2 to 3 weeks from now, the extra $600, it's going to be almost an afterthought, right? Because you'll have jobs coming in. Definitely not guaranteed. Not going to guarantee anything in that circumstance. But for majority of our clients, and they can go into percentages or something like that. Just paint the map to success. But I, oh my god, I don't know how this guy doesn't close here.
to the end and we're just not happy, by law we have to refund you both 600 payments that you made to us, and
I wouldn't have gone into that though. because now you're painting like this is what happens because this guy's looking for certainty and you're painting what happens if things don't go well. Now that's a kind of a killer. That's kind of if there's any knife, like I promise you, Michael's not going to come back from what Tamim just said and feel more certain. This is only going to make him feel less certain.
And we have to work for free until we do get you the jobs that we said, right? Obviously, there's a lot of guys out there, they say they can do that, say they can do this, but
Yeah, I like that. That shows that you are very confident in, getting the job done.
yep.
That's what I like to hear. Uh, okay, I definitely have to sit on that and think about it. And I would like to go with the monthly plan, the weekly plan you talked about, the 600 now, 600 3 weeks. So yeah, I'll sit on that and then shoot out a text and we gonna set it up.
Okay, sounds good, man. So just real quick, right? Obviously, just man to man.
Real quick, dude, it's no, stop. Get it out of your vocabulary. That's honestly been probably top 3 things. If you look at the beginning of the call, I said like it was a small thing. It's became a large thing, right? Because it shows that like, oh fuck, like this guy's gonna leave really quick. Right? Now we're in a worse spot.
Right? You and me.
Yeah.
What is it that's really holding you back, man? And I'm on your side.
And then now Michael's in a very defensive spot. What's holding you back? What is actually holding you back versus okay, yeah, man, cool. Like we can definitely like, you know, get back to you. Today is Friday. Like, when would you be available? Tomorrow or Sunday, just to see, if I'm available for you. Boom, classic Jeremy Minor. You guys know, right? Boom. Okay, and I booked that appointment in. Boom. Okay, and just before I let you go here, sell the exit. Right? Perfect strategy. Sell the exit. Just before I let you go here, I know you said you had to think about it. Obviously, it works on the financial end of things here. I guess like what was something you'd like to see, or what was something that's kind of missing? The last piece of the puzzle, I guess, that I could have ready for that call, just to see if I can help. Boom. And now he's going to show you the true objection because he thinks he's leaving off this call, and then you can hop right into that.
Side here.
Versus here, Michael's getting very defensive because he wants to get off the call. He wants to think about it. Look, he's laughing, right, because he's nervous, but not bad.
It's like, obviously I'm trying to, take a leap of faith here and, putting my trust in you and making sure that this turns into something I'm happy with. So I just want to make sure, it's something I want to make full decision and won't be like, oh my God, I regret, going this way. I should just get my Google ads running and just keep going that way. So, this is something I'm interested in. That's why I should have texted. I was like, I gotta hit this guy, man, and try this out because I want to, branch out and try different things to see if I can, because, the thing about growing is you got to try different things. And,
100%.
so it's something I will try to do for sure.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I totally hear you.
Something I will try to do for sure. Boom. We could just advance this sale right here, right? Just by giving a little bit more certainty. Oops. Just by giving a little bit more certainty here.
Is it show that picture, right? And look, man, worst case scenario, right? We got started working together. Worst case scenario, you lose no money. It just takes us a little longer than 90 days to get you good results. Right? Obviously, we have that guarantee.
Yeah.
So kind of given all of that, man, like I said, the decision is not going to get easier, right? What do you think the version of you at 20K, 30K, the guy with a shop, the guy getting the PPF jobs, what do you think
Well, don't say 20 or 30K. Just say where he wants to go.
he would do?
He would definitely go ahead and, and make this happen. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing with me is when I say value things, I don't waste time. I go ahead and get it done. But when I want to try new things that that I feel like could affect me or not, let's just put my leg in this pool and check the temperature of it. I like to just make sure I don't go full crazy on it and regret it. Because one thing I don't like to do is regret. So I like to sit on it before I even start this business. I have to sit on it, weigh out the pros and cons. Okay, if I do it, this is what I have to sacrifice. This is what I have to not do. This is what I got to do. And then before I decide, okay, now we can go. Now I feel like I'm mentally ready to go ahead and try it out and see. So if it fails, I know I won't be devastated or whatever, because I know this is where I was at before I made this decision. I know I'm okay with it. You feel me?
Right.
So that's what I like to do.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, I totally get it, right? Kind of just analyzing the decision and seeing where you could go.
Yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from, man.
Yeah.
The only point I'm trying to make, obviously, is just when you actually make the decision, it's like a split second moment. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's not like it takes you, like, let's say a year to make a decision, because at the end of that year, when you make the decision, it was made in a split second moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You said with your business, you don't like, still at the point of the decision, and now the decision's gone all.
I definitely hear you on that. You're not wrong. Me reaching out, was me like definitely seeing this as an opportunity I don't want to pass by, and knowing that damn, I could have gone this way and try this out. So I definitely want this to be incorporated into my business. Definitely moving forward if I get the shop. You know what I'm saying? So, but for now, I'll sit on it and maybe come out with the full amount. 1K and just pay it off. That way I don't have to wait for the next week or whatever. But for now, yeah, I want to wait on that and just think about it. Make sure this is something I want to go forward with, and not regret. And definitely move forward. But yeah, I definitely will. I really would love this to be incorporated in my business, because Google is showing me that's not the way. So
Sure, yeah.
I do see Google's not showing me. Give me the
Yeah.
June 13th. Let's say for the end of the month, I could give Google one more chance to convince me that this is not the, like I should go this way and I should stay with Google, or if Google fails me a little bit more during the coming weeks, and I'm like, okay.
All right, so that's pretty much the end of the call. All right, so that pretty much wraps up the call there. And again, like the guy was very close. I mean, geez, you don't see this too often where a prospect is like this close. Like the guy was literally selling himself, and then just that last second urgency. I would have just called it out and been like, man, it seems like you're telling yourself why you should do this, and like there's just this last second urgency, and I know why that is, man. Like because I speak to people every single day, and for you, it was getting burnt in the past, right? And then I would have hopped into that, like, let's just say you had a girlfriend, you're 16, right? Hop into an analogy there, like something like that. I would have opted for, right? And without diving into too much of like the crazy objection handles, because again, like, um, I don't believe objection handling is like the biggest, most needed skill in sales as much as everything else, such as the tips I made in discovery. But something I would have liked to see done is to get his commitment, handle the objection, then offer pricing plan, right? It's just something there that I would have liked. If I saw some uncertainty, I would have patched that certainty up. Imagine if he got him to the position where money aside does work, yes. Hops into the analogy, yes. Like, what would you do? What would the person who is making more money do? He would do it. Okay. And so the last thing stopping us is kind of money. Yes. Okay. And so if we were able to break it up, would that help you hop into that close, right? So that's a big thing I would have liked to see that I think would have been so much smoother. But again, it all comes back to the discovery, guys. Like if it was more on a personal level, if it was more on that level, right? And again, to me, just had to push that little bit, right? So what I would have done there is, as I said, again, I would have gained his commitment prior to price. I sense some uncertainty as soon as I drop the price, right? It's related to him trying other things and just him needing to like a little bit of a push. I would have obviously handled him trying other things, and then obviously handled that, like, to me it had a great analogy with like the starting the business all the way to now. It honestly worked really well, and if you saw the prospect got it like to the T, if we did that and then offered a pricing plan, or even if we did that and then just kind of gave him a little bit of a cutoff. But a thing that kind of pulls Michael back right at that last second is, to me, kind of offers a more challenging tone. Like, because, like, again, like when we do this, right, he's more like that as opposed to like, kind of like a softer spoken. Like, this guy doesn't need to be pushed super duper duper hard, just a little bit of a push. Be like, yeah, and I totally understand. Like, because at the end of the day, you don't really need more time. You just want to make sure you want to have the best decision made for your business. Okay. And like, and then you could have hopped into how like the best decision for him, you know, is more so just making another thing, right? Because we're getting closer, right? And then you could have been like, Michael, we tried this, obviously it didn't work. We tried Yelp, it didn't work. We tried Google, it's not really working right now, but we're getting closer and closer and closer. What do what was the biggest issue preventing you with Google, that wasn't working, right? And then you could hop in how the difference between Google and him is that we're bringing consistent leads. Obviously, the value of like, I'm saying the appointments for you, man, like, me and my team are going to be the guys calling for you, so you don't even have to do that. So if there is no bookings, then that's me, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no off you, right? And again, there is like obviously a guarantee. I wouldn't have said it as fast as I am. I would have worked them through it and be like, so I mean, with that being said, like, are you confident in this program? Like, would you do it with those, with that value, like of me being able to do this and this, right? Outside of money, because I know that's like the last thing holding us up. Boom, and then hop into pricing plan. I know seventh level. I know a lot of guys, and typically what I do is like hopping to the pricing plan. But if I sense uncertainty before then, and I can isolate that if you see it is outside of money, it's just, he immediately asked a question about Tamim's business after price. That's something that like reeks uncertainty. Handle the uncertainty. Don't go in the pricing help, right? Because that's what Tamim did. If we do that, handle that uncertainty in the ways I said, obviously with Tamim's analogy, that was a really good analogy, right? Handled the burn in the past, get him committed to continue trying, continue changing. What would the person, who was making 20K a month be doing? Great question. Boom. Hop into the pricing split. I'm pretty confident that's going to be a close. Again, if we had a more personal level to it, if we had him a little bit more committed to change before the pitch, that would have already been that extra little push that would have been closed. So yeah, and again, guys, like this is the crazy thing is like small things like that just a reorganization, maybe in the discovery, obviously with his like questions arrangements and everything like that, would have literally been the make or break to him making more money, right? Let's just say he had 3 of those calls a week and he has a 20% close rate and he takes 10 calls, right? And he closes 2 of them. I mean, if he closes even half of those calls that are like that close, his close rate goes from 20% all the way up to 35%. That's a make or break in every single business. Okay. Awesome. So that's the video. I hope you all found value from that. Obviously, if you want me to personally go through your sales calls, every single one you send me one by one, I do have a mentorship going on right now, and it's 5K. No, I'm just kidding. It is free. There's no strings attached. You guys think, I know you guys hear free, and you're like, what the fuck is this guy even talking about? Just DM on Instagram. Again, if you want to actually get 2-on-1 mentorship, we're actually having the person who scales to the fastest and to the highest level, to the highest degree, that person is going to win a Rolex. And again, you might as well take a shot because it is free. You're not going to be paying me any money. I'm trying to get better at mentoring. My partner's trying to get better at mentoring so we can continue to improve businesses and change guys like yourself to obviously be in a better position. But yep, hope you guys found this video valuable. Take the tips that I gave to Tamim and apply them to your own businesses. Crush it. And as I said, last time I'm saying it because I'm not trying to hard sell you on anything. I don't really care if you guys join or not. But I do have a mentorship, will be in my bio, that you guys can join for free to improve your sales process, to improve your agency, scale to 10, 20K, 30K a month, wherever you guys want to go. So, yeah, catch you guys.